Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As always, I'm your host, Mike. Hello, how's it going, everybody? Oh, we took a week off. We're back, having a great time, ready to rock. If this is your first time here, as always, we stream for charity. Direct relief star charity still. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in chat. Put at Last Epoch game in chat so I see it pop out at me, and I'll read it quickly. Answer as soon as I can. Just do a little chat disabling here. Get back into the swing of things. How's everybody doing? We had a week off. I had a little vacay. It was nice. Saw some family. Got the kid in the pool for the first time. Hi, Aaron. How's it going? You're ready to start. If anyone missed the last stream, it was a special one with Aaron. It was good. We had tons of fun. And I'm making up for last week's not being here, and I've actually got a decent stuff to share, which is cool. Not massive, decent. Let's get in. What am I doing? No, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Yeah, so if anyone hasn't heard, we're going to Germany to Gamescom. It's going to be awesome. We're going to have a pair of booths there, actually. All sorts of awesome stuff. Yeah, there's the meteor feel. All right, yeah, let's get going. What's everybody doing? I mean, I feel like D4 is still doing strong, still doing well. I feel like people are still playing that a fair bit, but I'm kind of curious how people are feeling about that getting into like late game. If you're here and you like Last Epoch or not, doesn't matter if you do or not. But I'm a little curious how people are feeling about, because I'm sure most people are getting into that like end game loop now. I'm interested to hear about that a little bit. You don't have to though. You can also just ask questions. How tall? Yes, I'm 6'1". Where is the Last Epoch merchandise? Also, is there going to be support for people playing offline or non-cycle, or is it going to be pushed pretty hard like D4, for example? So at least initially, the vast majority, possibly all things, will be rolled out simultaneously to everyone, and won't matter if you're cycle or not to get the new stuff. And like that could change over time. If we're like, oh, no one's playing cycle, maybe we start like putting I don't know, like some unique items that start in cycle and then get rolled into everything, or maybe we, like some other little thing that's like cycle initially or something. I don't know. We'll be looking at feedback a lot for that. The initial plan, at least, anyways, is to have things be pretty universal to begin with, because a lot of the stuff that we're going to be adding in for like cycle content is things that we're like, man, if we had an extra 2 years of development, we'd slap this in for sure. But we've just got to get we've got to get something out the door as like a, hey, this game's ready to go. What do you guys think? Content, and like we're very happy with what 1.0 is going to be as well. And then as far as the merchandise goes, man, I don't know. I've been asking, begging for more merch for years. My mom's been asking for merch. She's like, I want a hat to wear. Like, I only have the one. It's up there. I'm making so we're going to Gamescom in Germany, and I'm gonna be wearing a mask while I'm on the floor, and so I'm if you do come and see me, my face will be mostly covered. But I'm making like EHG branded mask things. I've got like little vinyl iron-on stuff for a little mask cover to put on. It's gonna go over top of the actual mask. So I'm making my own merch. Ooh, yeah, give me those shards. Yeah. I need more shards. I'm low on shards, so we're just gonna keep targeting that, I think, unless something terrible. Glancing blow's not great. It's not the end of the world. Gotta say thank you guys for LE. Feels so much better than grinding here. D4 messed this up. Yeah, I mean there's different ways for everyone, but yeah, I'm real happy you're enjoying Epoch. That's awesome. Thank you. Oh, mana regen. Yes, let's cast all the meteors. I put the wide area so I don't have to aim. Now, hit everything, please. More mana. It'd be crazy if those stacked. Your itemization is better than D4 is my opinion, and your crafting system is second to none as well. Thank you. I guess I should focus the question a little bit. I don't necessarily mean like in relation to Last Epoch, but just like if you've gotten to the end game of D4, if you're like, I don't know, is there something that's awesome that's standing out as really cool? Some activity that you are really enjoying. That's what I really want to know. Yeah, there we go. Having to hone in my questions. Because I don't even know what I want. And it's not from like a things you want to see in LE either. I'm just curious as how people are feeling about games because I like games. Did I say 3? I meant 4. Sorry. DL3 doesn't have an end game, to be honest. I mean, yeah, it's my favorite part of the D3 end game actually is the challenge rifts, which I know are not generally a very popular feature. That's my favorite part. So it's always getting to try something new. Someone was asking on our Discord a couple days ago about the like they call it like naked and alone type encounters where like if you ever played Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom, where you go into some situation like Eventide Island or some of the shrines in Tears, where it like takes away all your gear and it's like, here's this challenge, good luck, go ahead. Asking if we could do something like that in Epoch, and it doesn't really work. But the closest that I think you can do is the challenge rifts in D3. Just because everything integrates so specifically. If you take away just the gear, like suddenly all of the things that you have that are like build enabling in your gear just kind of like fall off. My goodness. I don't know what happens, like I start streaming and it gets hot. My computer doesn't like being told to encode and play the game at the same time. Helltide is a standout activity right now. Cool. That's you're having a lot of fun with. That's awesome. I think Masterclass should change. I don't think Masterclass change should be free, but add it. Oh, you're like suggesting for Epoch. Heavy, hello, hello, hello. Thank you very much for the 5 gifted subs. That's fantastic. Thank you very much. Well, to Andrew, congrats, Andrew. I also just found out, Heavy, that if I know you mentioned possibly coming to hang out a little bit or say hi at least. Um, I am scheduled to be on the floor until well into the evening. But I'm sure I can take breaks. Very cool. All right, I was answering a question, wasn't I? Oh yeah, someone was suggesting adding in mastery changes. Yeah, we really intentionally don't have the ability to change masteries right now. I'll read the whole comment here, but add it, like make it where there's a super long quest or rare items you gotta farm, craft something to change. Really like to try Blade Dancer, but feel invested into your 92 marksman. Yeah, I think it's an understandable request, and we get it fairly frequently. It won't be in 1.0, I can tell you that much. We're getting close enough that there's like a lot of stuff that I'm just like, well, that won't make it into 1.0. There's no way. Just from a time left standpoint. What game engine what game engine are you using for Last Epoch? This is Unity. I want to say like 2019. Like 4F24 or something. I don't know. I'll look. It says in log files, so it's nothing. Nothing we're giving away here. Everyone has this information on their computers if they have the game installed. 2019.4.40 F1. It's probably the most up-to-date LTS branch for 2019. Which is getting far enough out of date that it would be nice. And it's also important to note that it didn't release in 2019, even though it says 2019 in the name. Dilla wins in visual search performance, anything multiplayer and story. Last because wins at everything else. Nice, thanks. Maybe some cool announcements at Gamescom. It is Gamescom with an M, not N. But it's a convention, so yeah. Yeah, there's we got tons of cool stuff to share for Gamescom. We've been preparing quite a while. It's a big stuff to share, so it's gonna be very cool. I would, if you're at all interested in Last Epoch, I would keep a weather eye on the Gamescom information coming out of the convention in general. I'm not sure when things are being announced or like the timing of anything really, so like that's why I just say keep an eye on it in general because I don't know when stuff's happening. I know when my flights are. I know when I'm supposed to be at the booth. I'm just gonna have a good time. I have an 8-hour layover coming home. In like, I have an 8-hour layover in a city that's like so close to home that like I could just go a different way home if I wanted to. It's a little ridiculous, but then I'd have to go to the airport to get my bag anyways. No worries, I'll get you a beer after the activity. Sounds great. I'm a big fan of the wit beer. Responsibly. Which I'm actually surprisingly lightweight, so, you know, not much. Because I'm not lightweight. Any updates on the dual shields update? No dual shields rocking yet. I think that'll be sweet. And like it's one of those things where people are always like, it comes up in a design meeting and everyone's like, that'll be so cool, yeah. And someone's like, I mean, we could probably technically do it, but oh man, like this would have to change and that would have to change. We'd have to add all these things, and it's just like, oh my goodness, not a 1.0 feature request. I still want to see two-handed shields too. I want to see two-handed. There's lots of little things like that are like, that would be cool. And adding stuff like that is stuff we want to do. But like, there's plenty of time, lots of room for us to grow and stuff like that. Oh, nice. It was a flame charge. Is built C# then? Yes. The like gameplay code is C#. There's other code used for other things, but the vast majority of it is C#. Dude, you guys got to drink Kolsch damn good beer. It's too dark for me. It's too dark for me. Not a fan. I'm an IPA boy. My buddies show up with like coffee stouts and things like that. I'm like, ugh. You guys enjoy that. Wrong charity overlay? Quite possibly. If you've got another one for me, I'd be happy to slap it up. I don't think I was given another one. I may have. Whoops. I'm looking, I don't see one. But I don't know where it would be. Oh yeah, it's different than the Twitter post. Yep, I've got the wrong one. This is not our charity. Don't look. Don't look. I'm gonna fix it. There's a different one coming. This is last times. I swear. Aaron, I did not just leak Dual Shields coming at 1.0. It's not. Just did the Grim Dawn way at a unique mace. That's basically as a shield. Yeah, we've talked about doing that too. The problem with the whole like at a mace that's basically a shield, it suddenly doesn't count as a shield for like all sorts of things. So, like if you have a node that's like some bonus when wielding a mace, it counts for that. So you'd still be wielding a mace, which you want dual shields. You don't want to have it interact with things like that. You've got the if you have it actually work as a shield properly, you can put nodes in that's like per shield. So we do things that are like per sword in Spellblade, for example, and so you could like get extra bonus having 2 shields. On top of that, there's also animation concerns. That's the biggest problem with it, is animation, because you'd have you'd be wielding this shield in your right hand with but it would look like you were wielding a mace, like animation-wise. So you'd be like swinging around this shield like it was a mace, and it just doesn't look good, obviously. Cool. You guys have any job openings still? Yeah, there's job postings on our website. 11th Hour Games, 11thhour.games, or 11thhourgames.com. This is something I should know. I just Google it is the problem. It's 11thhour.games. There we go. Yeah, there's you scroll down, there's a career section. Currently, there's a 2D animator, a 2D color artist, a VFX artist, a backend engineer, and a UI and gameplay developer. I'll agree to a contract to design the dual shields, 2-handed shields, like we paid in Diablo 4 KFC chicken buckets. Do you want the buckets, like, are we talking like just the buckets? Is this like a commemorative collectible thing? Like you just want me to go find people who have purchased these buckets and get the like used buckets from them, or do you want them like full of KFC? It's probably easier and cheaper to get them full of KFC. Hypothetically, couldn't you add unique affix like counts as shield? I thought it's something like a one-handed mace that has a unique affix cancel to its shield. Benefits for keynodes and skill specific trees. It's the same thing. It's the same amount of work. It's the exact same amount of work to do. It's actually something more work to do that than just make equipping a shield in the main hand slot, because it's the animation concerns are the hardest part, and you'd actually have to then have the unique property interact with the animation check. So you'd have to like change the order of things to like have it be able to detect this unique property when it's picking which animation to use, which would probably cause slowdowns across the board, like every ability. And it's not a big slowdown, but like technically a little slowdown. Yeah, let's just get some shock chance in there. I don't really know what I'm doing here. Just picking things. Just grabbing stuff. Yeah. Why not? Feel like we're near the end of it. Sure, sounds good. Don't need that. I really want that staff. Give me that staff. And the passive node that makes Void Essence infinite mana. That's a great node, but needs to be fixed, buffed. Only way to play Racing Strike. Yeah, I don't know which one you're talking about off the top of my head, but if you've got specific feedback or suggestions, things like that, the best place for them is the forums. Because I don't write stuff down from stream, because I'm terrible. And it'll just get lost in the ether that is this chat. You miss any reveals? No, you haven't. No, you want the chicken as well? No deal then. Sorry, bud. Hope I had a good vacation. I did have a good vacation. Thank you. It was chill. I went into vacation Mike mode. I was answering a bunch of questions on the drive home. People were like, "Don't pull over, just answer questions, Mike." I'm like, my wife is driving, not me. You trade off. Yeah, that's like a T6 Ignite, I think. Yeah. I was trying a new all fire build in on our test servers. That was a ton of fun this morning. Next question. What build am I playing, Mike? I am playing. I'm playing Meteor right now. Just Meteor Shower. Basically, it's my build. Meteor Shower. I am working on getting it to be Lightning Meteor Shower. And I've got Lightning Blast as a synergy in preparation for that. We're just not quite there yet because we don't have the right item for it. But we're just rolling with the Fire Meteor until then. Taking a little bit more generic damage abilities until then. Is the reason why you can phase through enemies in multiplayer will that change the feature? Yeah, there's a reason. It is basically because we can't be 100% certain of anything's position in multiplayer, player or enemy, for each in the client. So when you're selecting where to go on your game client is pretty sure where everything is, but can't be quite sure. So in order to keep things moving smooth and not looking jittery and rubber banding as much, you can phase through things, basically. Basically why. Because really, when you're playing, your game client's just taking actions. It's just doing stuff. It's just saying, "Yep, I did this," and you do it. And then while you're doing it on your own screen, the game client's checking with the server, being like, "Was that thing I just did okay?" It's not really what's happening, but kind of from the game client's perspective, that's basically what's happening. And the server's basically saying, "Yeah, that was fine." Server's actually just telling you where you are, and if it's close enough, then your client is not changing your position locally. Just use the meteor. Plans to add more crazy weapon types. Recently played on December, and they have a weapon type called a gunbow, basically a dual-wielding crossbow. It's very cool. Yeah, there are some very intentionally missing weapon types that we think will fit really well with certain archetypes that aren't in the game yet, and we're kind of leaving open in preparation for that. So, like, there are people who've rummaged through the game files a bit, and they would have noticed a couple of these types that are already they already have like IDs in the lists of item types ready to go, but there's just no item of that type in the game. For example, fist weapons and crossbows, two-handed crossbows, already have an item ID, but there are none in the game. And there's definitely we've intentionally left room for other item types to be slipped in as well. So things like, and I have no idea if any of these will be added, but these are just the ones that come to mind for myself personally. Things along the lines of, one-handed spear. There's no one-handed spears in the game. There's no two-handed shields in the game. There's definitely room for some. Ooh, there we go. And there's definitely room for some less conventional weapon types in the future. Maybe a one-handed crossbow. As far as getting actual like gunpowder in the game, that's not something we're planning at the moment. It's possible so far future, but not as anything anytime soon, especially not for 1.0. Hello. Will we get something extra to do in the upcoming major patch before 1.0? I would love any extra similar thing to strongboxes and PoE, or really anything. Yeah, there is activity-based features arriving. I don't want to oversell it or go too deep. There's nothing on the same scale as a major full system like Dungeons or Monolith or Arena. Those will still be the three main endgame systems that you can interact with. But there's like we're I guess kind of on the similar scale of strongboxes. Ish. Not really. There's nothing major really. But there's stuff. I'm not allowed to talk about what it is, so I don't want to go into any detail at all. There's something. Ooh. Strongboxes got a little deep with the how you can soup them up and all sorts of stuff with that. There's nuances to strongboxes that I know I don't even know. I asked a bit earlier today about this in Discord, but could you expand a little bit on the favor system in factions, like how you get it and stuff, or is that still TBA? Yeah, I can expand on that. Happy to. All of what I'm about to say is available in the original item factions announcement post, all this information is there. So there's nothing new. This is nothing hidden. This is nothing being revealed. This is all public, already available info. So as you as you progress through the storyline, eventually you will get to a point where you have to select an item faction to be a part of. I say have to. It's a possibility you might not actually have to do it, but you should, because there's no reason not to. Anyways, I mean, other than some weird extra challenge, but yeah, I digress. Anyway, so there's you'll get to pick your faction. Once you have a faction selected, either Circle of Fortune or Merchant's Guild, as long as you are representing that faction by just picking one or the other, and you can switch between them. You can just be like, okay, I want to switch to the other one, no problem, go ahead. As you kill enemies, you will gain favor for the faction you're representing, and then you can spend that favor on the faction's specific mechanics. The favor is faction specific as well, so you can't farm favor on as a Circle of Fortune and then switch and use the favor as a Merchant's Guild. It is Circle of Fortune favor and Merchant's Guild favor, they are distinct. Yeah, I think that's pretty much how favor works. As you spend favor, so like for example, the things you can spend favor on in Merchant's Guild will be like, oh, you want to post something for sale, it costs favor. You want to buy something that's posted for sale, it costs favor. As you do actions that cost favor, like buying and selling things in the Merchant's Guild, your reputation with that faction will increase, and once it hits a certain threshold, it will increase in rank, and at each rank, new actions or abilities are unlocked. With the Merchant's Guild, primarily that means new types of items that you can buy and sell, but there are other things as well. Some of those examples were listed in the item factions announcement post. The reason I'm explaining this with Merchant's Guild and not Circle of Fortune is because I remember that post this morning, and I think you were asking specifically about Merchant's Guild. My goodness, it is warm in here. Drink lots of water. Oh my god, that's what's wrong. I have the wrong thing up. I may have missed a bunch of questions, and I'm so sorry. I hope not. If you want to know more, hit me up. Happy to answer more with that. Is 1.0 scheduled to come out this year? We have previously, sort of in unofficial channels, said that our goal is this year. I'm not prepared to say like a date or anything like that. We do have an internal date that we're working towards that I'm quite confident on. But until someone says, here's the date, go ahead and say it, Mike. I ain't saying it. You can't make me. I'm like something that don't crack. Like, I don't know, a really hard nut. Like a hazelnut. Yeah. Or that last pistachio in the bag that you just like, it's just sealed, it's fused shut. Only like a welding torch will open it up. I don't know what I'm talking about. Alright, moving on. Mike, you're crazy. Thoughts on a voodoo doll weapon type would be cool. I think that fits really well in an offhand, like as like a catalyst, or possibly as a relic. I think that fits really well there, and I think that's more likely where it would show up. And we kind of have things like that. The homunculus idols for Necromancer, I think sort of fit that vibe a little bit. There may even be a voodoo doll, or there may have been at some point. I don't remember. Mike, Mikey boy, Michaelis, we need to know more about Runemaster. I'm waiting to come back to game for this. I got zero information about Runemaster for you, other than it's awesome. Do you have anything to say about that? No, not even my teasers are even related to Runemaster at all. Here, as an apology, I'll give you a little teaser tease. So this is the current live model for an Osprix. And what this, it's kind of hard to see in the picture, but you can probably tell, is that things are, the wings are flat. They are all on the same vertical plane. And there's not a ton of movement there. There's a little bit, but not a ton. And it feels a little stiff, feels a little flat. And so we're reworking the Osprix model a bunch, especially because they're pretty prominent early on. And so I'll get a similar angle to start with. So here's an update on what the back's gonna look like. So you can see there's much more depth to it. Feels a lot more real. Also, just awesomer looking. This is also probably an unfair comparison because one of them's like the flat one is like it's not a proper render. It's the like preview window in editor. It's not actually a pretty render. So it does look better than that in game actually. And then here's a front shot as well. Boom. Yeah. So I think it's a big upgrade for them. Moving on. Cool. Well, I want more affix shards. Give me all the affix shards. When to add other languages to the game, such as Polish. Yeah, so we are working with a localization team right now. It's coming along great so far. Oh, I got a ping. Was irrelevant message. Thought it was someone I was doing wrong. We're good though. I was talking. Oh yeah, localization. Yeah, localization's coming strong. I do not know when it's going to be ready, but I know it's very far along in development. And I would say localization is a pretty important feature for launch. I hope it'll be there for launch. I think it will be. I don't know. I don't know when it will be done. But I know it's coming along quite a bit. It's a huge task. And Polish, I think Polish is in there. We've listed this. Andrew, help me out. I know you're here. So I hope you are. There's English, Spanish, French, German. I'm maybe thinking Portuguese, not Polish. I'm sorry, I don't know which one it is. That's actually in there. There's a few others too. I don't know all the languages. Oh, I should have this off the top of my head. Whoa! Nope, don't want that. What was I saying? Yeah, languages. I'm sorry. There's a list. If you go back like 3 streams, I say all of them perfectly because I knew it really well off the top of my head then. There's I think you can also search on on Discord. There's a big list of them probably, and forums. It says it too somewhere in there. How's the devs' morale? Forums are not always super positive place. Does that affect the team? Yeah. So okay, I think overall morale is very high. Partially just because I mean, we love working on this game and cranking out tons of awesome stuff all the time. I think it's really easy to I think it's really difficult. Here's a better way to say it. I think it's really difficult to give constructive criticism for a game that you're really passionate about. And I'm always impressed at how many people do come across with real constructive criticism on our forums. Having said that, yeah, there's times you read posts that are tough to read, and I read every single post that are on Reddit and on our forums and Discord. Like, it's just what I sit and do when I'm in my time off, is just read posts. And sometimes I have to take a little bit of a break, but you know, I think that there's just as many, if not more, positive posts too, which are always great. And even the ones that are like, I didn't enjoy this, but like, here's why, and you know, like, here's maybe an idea on something that I think would be cool. You know, those types of posts, I love reading those posts, because like, you see people's like imagination and creativity, and there's very frequently things I never would have thought of that show up in those posts. Like, most of the time we can't do it for some technical reason or some sort of design conflict, but like they're always so cool to see still. No, I'm really grateful for our community. I think it's awesome. I do have a tough time with the Steam forums, I will say. That's those are tough to stay positive in. But we've always from the very start said that it's really important that we get the feedback, the genuine feedback from players. If everyone just said, "Oh, it's amazing," the game would be terrible. Like, if that was the only feedback we ever got was, "It's fantastic," it wouldn't actually be fantastic. So don't feel bad if you're posting negative feedback. But you know, just try and be respectful. Which the vast majority of people are. Alright. I imagine it's tough to stand out in the ARPG space because of how many different franchises there are, like Diablo, PoE, etc. Do you guys have done a good job making your own game stand out among the crowd? Thank you. Is there anything you could talk about that you have planned to add that helps the game differentiate its helps the game different than those other franchises? Oh my gosh, I can read, that we don't know about yet. There's nothing I can really say. We do have some cool stuff. We're always trying to come up with new and interesting things to do. There's things that we, I guess, that do well already. Like, for example, one of the things I think we do really well is having a ton of options. There's a ton of things you can choose from. Yeah, like there's balanced things we can improve on for sure in here to make more of them competitively viable. But there's a lot of like fun, transformative, interesting things to do. Sorry if you can hear a plane in the background. And I think leaning into our strengths here is really important. So like one of our big strengths is our skill trees. And like improving these features that we do well already, and leaning into those, I think is something that we're hoping to probably do, I think. I think that's one of the things that's the feature that got me interested in the game. It's a Reddit post that described this, like a skill tree for every skill. That's what got me on board with the game and got me working on it. Was just that idea alone. Yeah, and also I guess just like solving problems, you know, trying to come up with unique solutions, and maybe not worry too much about what else is going around around us, as far as like ways to solve problems. You don't want to reinvent the wheel if you don't have to, but Sometimes it's good too. Item factions, for example. All right. Mox, make Mike drop the date. No. I don't think Judd's here anyways. Do you guys play new games like D4 and see if you can learn something or take inspiration for LE? Yeah, so definitely play new games. Like as much as I can. Don't have a ton of spare time to do it, so I gotta be a little choosy, and I fall victim to the falling back into comfort games for myself a fair bit. Which is I try and branch out a fair bit, and there's like and it's not always even same genre games that we'll play. So like recently, I started playing Farthest Frontier, by the guys who made Grim Dawn. Great, super fun game. Having tons of fun with that. And I generally will, personally, anyways. I try not to play a game with the intention of finding things to take or finding things to like use or be inspired by. I try and just play games, and when I get myself into a design headspace, just think about games I've played in general then. I don't know if that's the best way to do it or not. It's kind of just the way I do it. It's the way I can have the most fun playing games myself. And when I'm playing games, that's primarily what I'm trying to do. Sometimes I'll start up a game specifically to like analyze it. It's pretty rare. I saw it like there's two overlapped. I teleports off cooldown. I can do it, and I'm just I'm like, no, I'll survive, no problem. Nope. I already bought that death earlier with the first teaser. LE's native Linux client is fundamentally broken with serious graphical glitches that are well documented in Last Epoch's bug forums. I know that Linux is not high priority, but since these bugs persist for 2 years, and you still advertise the game as Linux compatible, when are you planning to fix those problems? Very smart guys in the forums are doing the job for you with workarounds and investigations of the problems. Can you comment on that? The underlying problems are not always fixed by the solutions that I've seen. There was one that I saw very recently get posted up that was great, and I passed it along to someone. It was like last week, I think I saw a post that went pretty deep on a solution. Passed that one along. There was one like I want to say like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago even, that was posted with a solution that we couldn't actually work into the game properly. I can't remember what the problem with it was. A long time ago. Yeah, we're working on it. It's not been forgotten. The initial languages planned to be available at launch are, here we go, wonderful, thank you, Edgerly. Simplified Chinese, French, German, Brazil, Portuguese, Spain, Spanish, Polish, Korean, and Russian. It was Polish and Portuguese. Nice. So yes, whoever that was earlier, there it is. Oh yeah, also no English. Those are the languages we are translating the game into from English. That's funny though. Don't ask Mike about Steam comments reviews. Yeah. When will the Polish language be available in Last Epoch? I'm asking because I don't know English as much as I would like. Sounds pretty great here. Besides, there was only one Russian language at school. I don't know the date that it's going to be available. I don't want to say it's going to be a launch feature, but that's what I want to say. I don't know the full status of it, but I know it is being very intensely worked on in general, and it's all of them will be together. I know there was a couple issues with some Korean typesetting that we were having, but I think that may have been solved. I learned a ton about how words are formed in Korean recently, trying to set up the character set for it. Which is actually really cool. But my goodness, it's a pain to program. You've mentioned a few times when asked about certain features or something that it's a technical limitation, either because of the engine or something else. Do you guys feel like the engine or the infrastructure you guys have built for the game is limiting? I'll read the rest of the question here. And if so, are there chances of changing that, or is it more of a creativity from constraints type situation where you guys can potentially find even more interesting solutions because of the workarounds you have to do? So it's kind of like little bits of all those things. So yes, the engine infrastructure we have is limiting in certain ways, and we do have to find creative workarounds to them in some cases. However, at the same time, we are constantly updating our engine and infrastructure for the game. Like there's people who that's their whole job is updating those things. And like you make a little tool for someone to use on something that like changes the way the engine works. So like the underlying engine, I say, is Unity 2019, but there's tons of stuff we built on top of that kind of make up the whole game engine. And so we're constantly working on that and updating that and increasing the things that we can do with the game. And so it's when we come up to a problem and we're like, okay, there's a solution we could make that would require us to like change the engine a little bit, or there's a solution we could make that would not require us to do that, but we'd have to like work around the problem this weird way or something like that. And it's a lot of the times it's dependent on what the problem is, how like how big of a deal is it to make this change, and what's the most cost effective way to do this? Is the workaround solution fun, interesting, good? Is it going to feel good to play, or is it not? And is the like changing the engine, is that going to take a day? Is that going to take someone a month? Is that going to take someone a year? Is that going to take 10 people a year? Like we gotta look at what's the how many work hours go into fixing this problem, and there's a whole like how much time do we have that we could possibly put into this analysis that has to be done in order to decide what's the best way to go. And so yeah, we do a little bit of all of that, what the question was there. So it's and yes, there's times where we're like, man, it would be cool to do that, we just can't, and sometimes we have to give up on an idea. That happens too. It's pretty rare. Okay, I've got a new image that I'm supposed to replace here. Where did that go? Where did that go? Nice. Now it's gigantic. Let's make it a reasonable size. Nope. Oh my god. If anyone knows how to zoom in my preview window in Streamlabs so I can adjust the position and size of an object more granularly, oh my god, I would love that. Nailed it. Alright. We have a new charity. Boom! It's our actual charity, I swear. Why gold? You just need to walk over, but shards you need to click it, and then click on the inventory to go to stash. Yeah, we get this question a ton. I have a canned response for you. And I know people sometimes hate canned responses, but it's better than me fumbling around for 20 minutes. So here we go. Everyone who's been here a while, I'm sorry you didn't hear this for like the 80th time. We believe that it is important for the feel of the game loop to have enemies fairly frequently drop items that you want to take an active action to pick up, but which you don't have to take time to inspect to work out whether it's good for you or not. However, there are times where it feels bad at the moment, especially when it's just one shard. So we're planning on to have them drop slightly less frequently and in larger groups on average. This is actually from before the most recent patch, so we've already done this. We're also planning to add more of a sink for shards you don't want, so it feels less futile to have picked up a shard that you aren't planning to use and already have hundreds of. I think all the updates to this are actually on live right now. I could be wrong about that. I think, I'm pretty sure those changes are live now. I could be wrong. But that's essentially why. And we have been working to make it feel better and play better and all sorts of stuff. Is there any plans to make your loot filter have minimap effects? Not currently. We've been talking about this, and this is something we know a lot of people want, and there's a lot of really not obvious functionality problems and performance concerns that come into play here that seem like they would be really trivial, and they're super not. So we know this is something people want to have access to, and we are planning loot filter improvements in general. There's a couple little things we're planning on there. I'm almost positive this was not approved at the most recent meeting. So it's unlikely to happen, I think, right now. I know that there are other ways we're looking at solving the problem where something drops a little bit far, like off camera, and maybe a minion killed it. Maybe it was a dot that you walked away from the enemy and the dot finished them off, and like an awesome item drops, like an awesome item that doesn't have a beam, it doesn't have a special something that goes with it, like it drops behind you, you don't see it, it's not on the minimap, you don't know what happened, what are you gonna do? Like, do you have to go back and like recheck everything? Like, I know, for example, like it was really important it was fantastic they added auto pickup for loot in D2 because it was really important to pick up gold, or auto pickup for gold in D2 because it was really important to pick up your gold, because there was a maximum number of objects that would show up on the screen at the same time, and so you could have like a Burroon sitting there on the ground and you'd never know it because the gold was taking up those item tooltip slots, things like that. So like I've more than once come through Chaos Sanctuary on like a really low level character trailing way far behind and just like found a high rune because no one saw it because it wasn't displaying on their screens yet. So it's yeah, we understand there's a problem there, and we are taking steps that we think are going to be more performant and less prone to potential really negative experiences if used incorrectly. That'll help with that problem. Alright, I recently found a way to have infinite reperform. That seems a bug loophole. Would this be a bannable if used in arena? If you know it's an unintended exploit, I would strongly advise against using it. I do not know what our policy on that is at the moment. If you're interested in outlining how that works in detail without sharing it publicly, my advice is create a support ticket and share it there. But I think I already saw a post about this publicly. Ooh. Ooh-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Not a fantastic one for us. We've got decent boots, but they're not amazing. What's our fire res like? Overcapped. Dropping some health, bunch of vitality, some movement speed. We might get cool stuff. Let's try for cool stuff. Oh, thank you, Heavy. Subbed yourself too. Thank you for the resub. Glad to have you 26 months in a row. That's huge. Wow. That's nutty. That's nutty. Just like, I don't know, it seems weird that we've been doing it that long. Every time I see a big number, I comment on it like this, and I'll get used to it eventually, I swear. What do we get? What do we get? What do we get? What do we get? Armor. Armor's good. It's not exciting, but it's good. Because it does protect against a lot of stuff. Like, all hits get affected by it. Not my top 5 choices, by any stretch of the imagination, but still fun. Okay. Hopefully the German translation will be better than the short teaser Mox posted. I don't want to have, I'm not going to try and pronounce that, in my game. I have no idea what that says. And I am quite sure there's going to be mistakes out of the gate. It's just such a monumental task that there kind of has to be, right? But I'm sure we'll get reports on those and get them in. One thing we're being really careful about with the translations, and this is a really hard thing to do, is to have the mechanical information conveyed in items and skill tooltips and things like that be really precise and consistent. I only have a good example on a single item here, but this is kind of okay. There's like, it's just the added increased more thing, where like the word in some languages, like the word more is translated as the same word as what you would say plus would be translated for, at least verbally. And so it's there's like this tricky stuff there, and trying to make it so that it's like obvious. Oh, I just scratched myself enough to make myself bleed. It's lovely. Good thing I'm standing and not resting my elbows on anything. The getting that to be precise is really important, because if there's problems there, then people will not understand what things do. And if there's any ambiguity there, we'll be in trouble. Give me those shards. Some spell damage stuff there. Love it. Ooh. Okay, we just gotta chaos this into something. I don't even want to flip it because it's gonna be such a mess right now. Poison res is not bad. Would really like health on there. Do I try and reroll the fizz res into something? Nope. We just break the item is what we do. So good, Mike. So good. Oh, we don't want that. We want move speed. It's okay, we got our Weaver's Will item. Let's use that instead. Alright, transform it to be smaller, then stretch it. I don't know what that was for, sorry. What's an upcoming quality of life improvement or feature that has you excited for Ellie? I mean, so there's a small it's not a quality of life improvement, it's a functionality improvement in the loot filter that people will call a quality of life improvement. That I'm excited about, being able to more specifically ask for certain affixes on items than before, like forcing one affix or forcing like specific affixes. There's more you can do specific affixes with more granularity in the loot filter. And a couple other things that I'm not going to tell you about. The resurrected version of it was only alive for like half a second because of the fall time differential on Meteor. That was great. Alright, more questions. And if you can share on Warlock, Falconer, or Ringmaster. Ringmaster's one word. Share that. Not really. I know there's some more information that's probably gonna be available in the not super too distant future. I wouldn't say soon. But I know Runemaster development is coming along very strongly. That's very, very pleased that Runemaster development's coming on. The other two are lagging behind a little bit right now, but we specifically do one at a time, so it makes sense. Runemaster has a lot of options. A lot of options. I'll say that. A lot of options. like the number of options where like when we initially were talking about it, it was like, I mean, we could do this. Haha, yeah, right. I mean, we could do that. Okay, let's do it. Good day, Quiet. All is well with me, thank you. Hope all is well with you too. Do you remember the hype train from the first stream when your account got affiliated? We had like level 5 hype train before the stream even started during the countdown. Yeah, I was confused. But yes, I do. And I still have little train teaser for you there. You know what I think we're gonna do? Oh, we answer some questions here. My main concern was the word something, which article, which is article. I'm sure I pronounced that horribly. I hate trying to speak other languages that I just have no knowledge of. It was translated from the word item, but it was the context of loot. There's some better words in German, like you're gonna try and make me say it. I'm not gonna do it. For example, it just feels like the company doing the translation does not have the context of a loot-driven video game, which worries me. They definitely have that context, and they are very familiar with it. That early translation, I don't know why that happened, but they definitely have that context. I have discussions with them every single day about context. Like they're specifically a video game localization company. That's the whole thing they do. And yeah, there's lots of different video games and everything like that, but definitely are coming at this from the right angle. It would be a little obtuse to ignore it. And it wouldn't be a cute problem to have. Now that other platforms are becoming more competitive with Twitch, do you guys plan on expanding over to things like Kick? Totally not trying to get you to follow me on Kick. But on serious note, will community events be available on other platforms, also not just Twitch? Yeah, I mean, so the Twitch was the easiest one for us to get set up on and going because it was the thing that we had people internally that had experience with. And when we started doing this, it was there was much less competition, and a couple things have sprouted up recently. And we do have the ability to stream out to multiple platforms at once. And then also, I guess you're also not talking specifically about dev streams, but just like events and things like happen. So like the concept of like a Twitch drop and things like that. Like, oh, if you watch this event at this time, you get something cool in game, and whether or not we would expand that to platforms other than Twitch. I think it would probably pretty heavily depend on, like, it's got to be cost effective for us to expand something like that. I think would be what it would come down to. So like if we look at, say, another platform, I have no idea how popular Kick actually is, or any of the other platforms for things like this. Like I've no information on this whatsoever. So I think we would probably look at it and say, okay, if we're gonna do this on like Kick, is there going to be like, is there maybe, say there's 1% more people that are going to be able to access it on Kick as their preferred platform than Twitch, and I'm just using Kick as an example here. But like of that 1%, like 90% of them would watch it on Twitch if that was the only thing that was available or something like that. I know it sucks, but frankly, in that situation, if we're looking at it being like, if 10% of 1% of the people that would want to watch this, it might not be enough to warrant, and I know I'm pulling numbers out of my butt here, but like there'd be some sort of analysis of, hey, is this worth 100 development hours to implement for a dozen people to be able to get this because they refuse to go to Twitch or something like that. I don't know. Is it worth one development hour? Yeah, of course it's worth it, for sure. Let's do it. Let's go. So it would depend on a lot of things. More armor. I want a new stat. I want something cool. But if it's like easy to expand it, I'd say that's something we'd generally be in favor of. Nice. Didn't think that was gonna let me go over the wall at all. Not entirely sure why it did. But doesn't let me go back. Interesting. Okay. Let's see where the point is. Yep. I don't know exactly where the line is. You need to bring the train whistle to Gamescom. You can cheer up the crowd while showing awesome stuff at your booth. Yeah. I could. It's not very heavy, but it's not exactly small. We'll see. We'll see. I'll put it on the maybe list depending on how much room's in my bag, or just buy one there. I do really enjoy it. It's like a toy bought for my son, but taking it myself. He plays with this harmonica. It's fine. You know, we were visiting family on our vacation, and they've got some kids that are a little bit older. So we get a ton of like previously like toys that they've aged out of, and so we came back with just a car full of toys. We're like, what do we do? It's way too much stuff. Do you have any plans to optimize VRAM usage? 6 gig and 8 gig cards are struggling mainly on Linux, but I believe that you offload everything to VRAM, even stuff not needed. Maybe you could add an option for setting it to manipulate VRAM usage like other games, for example, Call of Duty. I don't know if I don't think we have any plans to implement something like that for 1.0 at the moment. Ice Beetle Horde, go my minions! It's good. Good. No, this way. This way! We don't have much time! Come faster! Do they get the speed up? Do they get the far distance speed up? I don't think they do. Oh no! They're not even gonna make it to the fight because it's going the wrong way around the room. Here they are! Yes, they got shots off! Perfect. Let's go next one quick. Oh, they just made it to die in the timeless floating world between worlds. How sad is that? The endless void where they shall know no rest. I know I say it every time I sort something, but I'll fix it eventually. One of these days. Yeah, let's just go there. I don't know what my card is. I think it's only 4. Oh no, it's 8. Using 7.6. It's getting old though. I know this is probably not something you want to share too much about, but will you guys be making any reveals or teasers during Gamescom, or will it more be to advertise to people who don't yet know about the game and have a meet with the community? Well, it very much is for, you know, like getting the name out there, showing off the game to people who haven't seen it before, getting to have an event in person with people that are in the community, things like that. Like, it's definitely for all those things. There is new information that will be brought to light at Gamescom, I think. It's like, there's new information that's going to be coming out soon, and I have no idea if we're actually going to announce it before Gamescom or not, but I know what the focus for Gamescom will be. And it's pretty cool. Okay, Mike, we make a deal here. You don't have to bring it. I will buy one and gift it to you at Gamescom. Sweet. Thanks. Don't go spending a ton of money on a train whistle. I'll probably have room in my bag for this. I don't want you to go buy a big expensive train whistle. I'll bring this one heavy. I'll bring this one. Leave a note to myself. I'm gonna forget. Yeah, leave a note to leave a note. There we go. To scan off topic from LE question. Scan off topic from LE question. Oh, just Anne. Okay, got it. The S is games. Got it. Sorry. But what were your thoughts on the new Blood Knight class that Diablo has made? It could be something as thematic as a Blood Lancer in LE future potentially. I think that there's. I don't know if I'd call it like completely new, but like it is a cool space. Like, and I think there's room for us to explore similar themes. I know that the place that I'd probably put it, or something along those lines, already has the next thing for that place queued up, like long-term queued up, and so I think the chances of it happening anytime soon are pretty low. But I will say that some of the sort of like fourth masteries that we're looking at for like way down the road, or the sixth base class like way down the road, that might happen. None of them are set in stone yet, but the ones that we've got that are like, ooh, it's probably this one. Some of them are a little out. They're a little off the wall, a little out there, a little unconventional. Some are more conventional too, but there's some interesting ones there. Teaser time, sure. We can do a teaser. Thanks for reminding me. I'm like 80% sure I haven't shown some before, so sorry if I have. But it's cool, so I'm showing it anyways. There we go. I think we may have shown like a still image of like an early version of this or something, or a concept art. Yeah. Little spider boy. Cool stuff. It's a new enemy coming, by the way. And what are the specs of the PC you're playing? CPU, GPU? Can you hit F11 so we can see FPS? Sure. My FPS usually flicks around 56 to 60. I do have it capped at 60. Sometimes it'll dip. It's usually pretty good. This right now is a i7 7700K, not overclocked. So like a 5 generations old CPU, 6 generations old CPU. I don't know where we're at now. GTX 1080, 8GB model, as I said, but not the Ti. Which I actually thought it was, but I went and looked it up yesterday and was like, oh, it's not a Ti, it's just a regular 1080. Great. Still a decent card. And 32 gigs of DDR4 RAM. I think it's 4. Shows how well I know my system. Actually going to be upgrading it soon, I hope. Just because I need the editor to run faster. Like I'm losing daylight hours to compile times. Need to get that faster. There's an M.2 SSD in there. Decent one, not great. That wand is interesting, and I'm gonna pick it up. And it's not great, but it's interesting. Here we go. Yeah. I know my CPU struggles with I get better performance when I'm not streaming because my CPU is taxed pretty hard when I'm doing this. I know that, which is unfortunate. Yeah, idols is interesting, but there's no idols that I'm like looking for in this build specifically right now. XP, I always like XP. Level up. Yeah, that was it. Yeah. Oh, what is the team current opinion on Weaver items? Did it meet expectations? Weaver items are really interesting. From a like, I guess, expectation standpoint, we didn't have. It wasn't a very big project. It was a very tiny project actually. That kind of just we're like, oh, something cool, slap it in, yeah, do it, go. And so I'd say they're doing well. They were never intended to be sort of a like as big of a splash, and I don't think we tried to, like tout them as such as a like legendary system in general. So I'm pretty happy with how they're working. I think they're interesting enough and fun enough that they're sitting in a nice spot. I think there's lots of room for the types of Weaver's Will uniques that get created to expand on. And there's been a few really cool ideas that have come through the pipe recently. That I think they're gonna grow. I think they're gonna grow into a really great part of our item system. And they're a little thin right now, which is expected and known, and yeah. But I think people will be very happy with how they fit in the 1.0 Last Epoch itemization system, and forward beyond that. I think, yeah, I'm very, very happy with them overall. You should have sent Heavy to the forums to remind you of the train whistle. That's a personal thing. Different. I know I always say I never take notes, and I just took a note. Such a hypocrite. How long do you think it'll take for players to find the secret B level? I mean, I think it's going to take a long time. Mostly because we have to make one first. First, we have to decide that we want to make one, and then we'd have to make one. Oh, if we ever added it, I don't know how we'd hide it. It's stuff gets data mined and revealed so quickly that, like, even if we like tried to sneak it in, oh, it would get discovered just right away, which is like a little frustrating, and not from a like frustrated that data mining exists at all, or that it happens. Like that's gonna happen. I think it's the services they provide with it are fantastic, and I wouldn't expect it to stop at all. If we did try and sneak something like that in, and I don't know how, I don't think it would be successful, because I think, like, try and cover something like that up, it's gonna get leaked no matter what. But like, if we were to try and add something like that, I'd probably reach out to the ones that I know about and be like, hey, maybe until this becomes public, you can just, shh a little bit, please? Just, like, wait a week? Huh? Just because I don't know, I love the idea of, and this kind of goes back to like Diablo 2 runewords, when people were, because when they first released the runewords, they didn't tell anyone what any of them were. They were just like, runewords are in the game, have fun, and everyone went off trying to figure out what they were, and it was early enough in the days of the internet that, like, you'd fall victim to fake runewords all the time. At least I did. Maybe I was just a noob kid, but like, I must have made 100 wrong runewords that someone told me about, and like, that's so cool that there's this, like, you don't know what's real, and you don't know if it's gonna work or not, and like all this, like, there's doctored screenshots that aren't real, and things like that. Like, and it's this like, this becomes this community effort to try and unveil it and all this sort of stuff, and I love things like that, and keeping secrets that are like just for a little while. I think it's just so cool. I think it's really hard to do nowadays. Not impossible, but really, really hard to do. And I think until we have a little bit better way of hiding it for a little while, anyways, I don't think it's coming down the pipe anytime in the next little bit. Maybe someone's figured out a way to hide it even from me. I don't even know. It's not there. Please don't look. Nice new spider mount. When will I be able to buy that MTX for my Budget Bazaar series? That'd be a cool mount. We don't have mounts though. I'm sure you know, but. Whoop. Mm. Give me those shards. Yeah. Oh, no! Run! Mike! Hello! Hope you guys are having a good day. I am, thank you. Can you share what architecture changes at high level are being made to improve network stability and server spin-up times? Thanks, keep the great work. Wow, I cannot explain this. And this is not from I'm not allowed to explain it. I actually can't explain it because I don't know. Well, okay, so that's not, I do know some stuff. There's a few, especially with networks with server spin-up times, there's a few tasks currently that run in series, so like one after another, that we can a little bit unreliably start in parallel. That's not very expensive if one of them fails, so we can, and it's rare that one does, so we can have things that normally would wait for, so like one thing would start and it would wait for and then when it finishes it would tell the next thing, hey, I'm done, you can start doing your thing now. And that second thing doesn't necessarily need to wait for the first thing to finish, it can just go without it. And so we've started doing, we've like, hopefully this should be obvious, we do that in many cases already, but there was one key place recently that we've expanded that to work in parallel instead of series, so that it will speed up load times, especially for entering new scenes in multiplayer. It's not quite the full speed up we want yet, but there's a significant speed up there. And the scale of the changes for network infrastructure that are happening is ginormously colossal. Undersells it a bit. Alrighty then. This I think this comes on the tails of we've mentioned that we're making some backend changes for things, and there, as far as players are concerned, nothing should appear different, apart from just it's faster. When the Velastra staff had the double meteor visual, but my Harbingers of Stars build would absolutely wreck my frames whenever it popped off. That's very understandable. Yeah. Any significant updates coming anytime soon? Haven't played the game in a little over a month. Was wondering if there is anything new coming that you have dates for. Thank you in advance. I don't have any dates for it, unfortunately. We'll be showing off a ton of cool stuff at Gamescom. So that's over a month away, but that's like the next big info dump that'll happen. I'm sure we'll have little stuff here and there leading up to that, but that's the, if you're waiting on like what the next big stuff's gonna be, Gamescom, we're storing up our juice for that, and it's gonna be great. Put him under an NDA easy. I assume this is referring to the stuff about data mining I was talking about earlier. And the NDAs cover very specific things. If they're collecting information from a publicly released program package, we don't really have the ability to impose an NDA on something like that. They don't really have a reason to sign an NDA that would impose restriction on something like that, other than just being nice. So like, we might as well just ask nicely, you know? Because a couple of them do already have NDAs with us. For specific things, like if they get their hands on a CT build, CT clients, things like that, then they can't disclose things found in those clients, and you know, things like that. I also have no formal background of education in regards to legal matters, so I can be very wrong. Every time I mention NDAs, I could be using the term wrong. So don't take what I say as gospel on NDA stuff at all. Please. Just disclaimer there. Oh. It's coming down. Looks like meteors. It's cloudy with a chance of meteors. And that chance is real high. Oof. All right. What I dislike about Weaver's items and regular uniques with LP. Oops. I just took a screenshot, I think. That Weavers are fundamentally too similar as an end result. Only the way how to get it is different. And they don't even try to combat one of the major complaints about legendary crafting, RNG. So they don't really add anything. Yeah, the types of items that the reason they're in there is the types of items that we can create with them is different. And so you end up with more types of unique items. And a different way to, what am I talking about? A different way to get them, a different way to get them is also, I think, valuable and interesting. All right, would there something very end game to restore forging potential to an item, dungeon or boss, or as one of a possible outcome of a possible corruption reward? Valord like. So I think this is asking is it possible to add something, a way to restore forging potential to an item? We very intentionally do not have a way to restore forging potential to an item right now. Is it possible that we figure out a way to do it properly in the future? It's possible. I've been in a dozen meetings where myself and many other people have pitched ways to restore forging potential to items. Every single one of them has had major problems that were not fixable. I don't know of any way to do it at the moment that isn't broken. So I don't want to say never. I don't want to say just no, because I have a feeling eventually we'll figure out a way to do it. I can't even comprehend what that way is right now. I hope that's just because I just can't understand it or something. I don't know. But right now, it's not something we're likely to see anytime soon. What are your thoughts on build diversity versus build viability? What's important, if any? What's more important, if any? It's kind of the same thing, I think. I think we have an unprecedented amount of build diversity in Last Epoch. I think that's one of the things that we have in spades is build diversity. Like you can If you want to get strictly into how many different node combinations are there possibly, there's billions of builds. Obviously, they don't all count as individual builds, and they're just slight variations on different builds. I still think we have a weird amount of builds you can possibly try and make. Now, how many of those are good, viable? It's such a subjective term that it's so hard to actually like quantify properly. It's neat. The big crit avoidance. Move speed already on there. We want to roll that minion dodger into something else. So it's a tough distinction and conversation to have. That's cool. But what's more important? I mean, I think build viability is the combination of build diversity and balance. So that's probably the more important thing overall. I think for like the game's longevity. And I think different those things will apply at different value rates to different people. Maybe someone who's really just interested in trying as many different things as possible and doesn't care about pushing to like super endgame stuff and like fighting pinnacle bosses and things like that. It's gonna all be about diversity for them. But someone who is really hard, like laser focused on doing the hardest content possible and pushing ladders and things like that, viability is going to be a lot more hot topic for them, I think. I think it's hard to compare. And they're both important. Alright. Void enemies deal increased damage. Pusha. The last thing that kills was a void enemy. Alright. Thanks. Always fun to hear solutions to issues caused by having success. I don't know which one that was, but yeah! The CT build has cobwebs on it? It does. It's extremely old. Yeah, the build that's right now live on the CT build is like, I don't know how old it is, but it's a 0.90. It's a pre-0.90 build, I think. Is old. Ugh. Currently, according to Steam's stats, there are about 1,000 plus daily active players for Last Epoch. How high do you think that number should be? So there is better income for EHG, more developers, faster bug fixes, more content, etc. That number doesn't that number doesn't directly impact short-term development rate right now at all. So it's kind of a hard question to answer because I guess that number could, if that number was like absurdly high, sure, that would start to affect things, but it would have to be pretty absurdly high to start affecting things, because we knew that number would be low right now. We've planned very much ahead for that number to be low right now, and like a lot of that comes from the fact that, you know, a lot of like games, ARPGs in general, are very cyclical in their player counts. Like just go look at PoE's player usage data on Steam, which is not all of their players, but it like you see the cycle happening so clearly, and like where we are in our cycle relative to that, it's like it's obvious why it's low just on its own. But then you stack on top of that, like D4 is still pretty fresh, and that's a humongous franchise, made by a ginormous developer who's like just sucking up the entire, not the entire, but a huge percentage of the genre right now, which is completely expected as well. So yeah, the number being low right now is not concerning or surprising, and I'm quite confident it'll bounce back, no problem. and the time it takes to like we've been adding more people to like fix bugs and develop more content and also stuff. Like we've just been adding more people like crazy over the last couple of years. It's just been like hiring people and onboarding people takes a long time. Getting someone to from the point of like, hey, you're hired, to you're a really effective like say we hire someone specifically to fix gameplay bugs. Like you get someone in and they can be an extremely talented developer, and there's going to be this lag time before they're effective in the project because it's a huge project. I looked up how much space it was sitting at on my hard drive yesterday because someone was talking about like buying a new SSD. And I'm like, they're like, oh, would a 500 be enough? And I'm like, no, you need a terabyte drive for it for sure. And they're like, oh yeah, like how big's the project? And I went and looked, and it's taking up 480 gigs on my drive right now. Like that's huge. There's just a ton of stuff all over the place, and just getting in there and navigating it and figuring out what's going on is it's a bit of an undertaking. Just getting your bearings once you get in there. And there's tons of little things like just off the top of your head, you know, like, oh, there's like you start working with skills, and it's like, oh, okay, well this function does these things, and you just know that, oh, you're starting a mutator and you don't need to put the added mana divider, which is the internal name for mana efficiency in the mutator, because it's in the base mutator class, and like there's just little things like that you just know because you've been working on the project for 5 years. And when you start in a new code base, you have to learn those things, and so there's a ramp up time, there's an onboarding time and a ramp up time, and lots of times people can come in and there's tons of stuff that you don't need that for, and you can be very effective very quickly as well. But it's less of a like if you try and react short term to numbers like that without planning pretty far in advance, it's you're not gonna have a good time. So we've been planning in advance for a long time. You know what we haven't had in a while? And this is really on me. I'm sorry. We haven't had a teaser in a while. So I think we're gonna have to fix that. Yeah. Here we go. So I know we've shown concept art of this one before. I remember that. But here is the in-game render model. New Sentinel set. I love the... I don't know if you can see it. I don't know if it's big enough to see. You probably can. So like the shoulder plates, the pauldrons are there's a hammer head on one side. I know it's not super practical, but it looks cool. So there's the hammer head, and then like the hammer tail butt. I don't know what you want to call that. The pick, and then at the top on his helmet, there's like the spike as well. And then if you look in his belt at the front on his his right, our left on his belt, there's that same style of hammer right there. I thought that was a really cool touch. Sparshbro about biggest issue about adding forging potential. Just curious about it. Is it the ability to create perfect items and mirror it constantly? It's not even the and mirror it constantly. It's just being able to create perfect items. Like full stop. There, that's the problem. It creates, and it's not about being able to create perfect items, because you can create perfect items now even. It's that being able to restore forging potential to an item creates it's an additive chance that you're introducing to the system that is almost strictly multiplicative at the moment. It's kind of like, I know this is a bad example. I don't know a better one. I'm really sorry. I wish I had a better example here. But the one that comes to mind that's kind of a similar-ish thing. If you look at damage reduction, and you say, and so usually when you're adding damage, more stats are just better. So you're like, oh, I want more damage is better than increased damage, right? Well, it's the opposite for reduced damage, because if you have 100% reduced damage taken, you take no damage. And so if you have, say, 5 instances of 20% reduced damage taken, that is 100% reduced damage taken because they all get added together, and that's 0, right? But if you have 5 instances of 20% less damage taken, that's actually not 100% reduced damage because they're each multiplicative with each other. So the first one reduces it by 20, and the second one reduces it by 20% of 80% of the damage. It's not 20% of 100% of the damage. And so each one of those is worth a tiny bit less each time. And you end up not being able to reduce your damage to 0, damage taken to 0. It's kind of the same problem. If you start adding in a bunch of additive damage reduction stats, eventually you'll get to a point where it's just a problem. And they have way more impact. I don't know how to explain it any better. It's a terrible example, and I know that. I'm sorry. I'll figure one out eventually one of these days. Alright, currently according to... Oh, that's the wrong thing. I know you said you're happy and Weaver's Will were a small project, but don't you think that potentially you might be setting the start of the game at 1.0? Setting the start of the game at 1.0 because you do have a lot of types of items and different ways to acquire them. You might be acceleration both item bloat and power creep too much out of the gate. I don't think it does much to power creep because it's like was said earlier, it's replacing an item. It's not like creating a new one. So I don't think there's much on the power creep side there. Bloat possibly. I think we're pretty far away from too many different options there. I could be wrong. I think there's, I don't know, I think they kind of sit in this, I think, sweet spot of they're similar enough that they're easy to understand what's going on, but they're different enough because they let us do things, that they open up more options that couldn't exist otherwise. Alright, what is the biggest issue? Biggest issue about adding forge? Oh, I already answered that, didn't I? Yep. Are those purple lines above item new? Are those purple lines above items new? Oh, the like the beam, the sky beam? Yeah, they're pretty new. They're last patch new. I didn't have to drop one. It was gonna drop for me. Ooh. Well, hello there. Looks interesting. Oh, the minion health is T5. Curses. We could roll the dice on it. So we could roll the dice on it here, or we could try and use it as like creating a legendary or something. Not that, obviously, but nuke the forging potential, unfortunately. There we go. Worth it. Not worth it. When can I summon a dragon? I think that's not something you should hold your breath for, because that would be some sort of record. There's dinosaurs. It's kind of similar, right? What class are you gonna play season 1 on Diablo 4? I don't think I'll have time to play it. But I'd probably be going rogue. That's my jam. Fun question: are there old playable versions of LE back from Kickstarter or very early access on your hard drive? Yes, there are. I have some ancient builds hiding away, and no, I will not share them. I'm sorry, because I'm just awful. I still have the first version of it that I've ever played, which was actually before I was technically working on the project, which is like a year and a half before Kickstarter started or something. I don't know when the Kickstarter was in relation to that. Maybe 9 months before Kickstarter. And the only playable character is the Forgotten Knight that's sitting in End of Time right now. Oh my goodness. You know, we haven't looked at in a little while. I gotta stash some of this. Do you have enough? Let's just buy one. Oops, wrong button. Hide it! Hide it all! Alright. Intelligence! Oh, that's great! That's great to have on there. The armor's spiked pretty hard. It's a T7 armor right there. That's a decent roll on a T7 armor. That's pretty cool. That is pretty cool, actually. I like that. Am I pretty far behind? I'm not too bad. Okay, sweet. I do wish you guys won't go down the cyclic crafting loop. That's something like PoE has. It makes crafting almost become like gambling, especially if you have the option of trading. Yeah, I think that our crafting and trading systems are very different from PoE's. I mean, I think there's a lot of great things about both, and I don't think you can easily pull things from one into the other because they're all built with each other and with their own systems in mind. So, yeah. Do you guys keep track of most played classes and builds? I don't think we do right now. Do you plan on buffs and changes for less used? Cough, Tempest cough. Tempest we know has problems. It's being redesigned and repurposed. It's getting moved to not have the same role as it has now. You can sell it. You can loot, but you can sell as 11 fortune potential. I mean, no. So after 0.9x comes 0.10.x or 1.0. So if everything goes to planned, it will go from 0.9x to 1.0. .x. But yeah, 1.0 is so it isn't the way that the versioning system works is it could go to 0.10.x because it's not a decimal, it's a versioning point. So it's not a decimal system, but it is. We did very intentionally make it line up. We planned this back when we went to 0.80. We planned that like we would release 0.80 and we'd be in 0.8 until multiplayer came out, and 0.9 would be multiplayer, and we'd be in 0.9 until we launched 1.0. And so we spaced it out like that very intentionally. But it doesn't necessarily have to be that way with the way we do our numbering. So like maybe we do 1.15 and 1.16 and 1.17, like that could happen. I think that's all the questions. I think we're at time. Boom. That's how we do. All right, that's our sub for today. It's our sub. It's our stream for today. Blah, 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 blah. All right, well, that'll do it for me. I had a ton of fun. I hope you did too. If you have any more questions or I missed a question and didn't answer it, please feel free to stop by our Discord, our Reddit. We're in and around those, answering questions all the time. So are tons of helpful community members that are in those answering questions. So lots of ways to get those answered. Yeah, I'll be here back same time, same place next week, and we'll do some more of this. It'll be tons of fun. And yeah, we are going to be in Germany Gamescom. If you're in the area, or you're planning on going already, or you just want to see us, we'll come by the booth, say hi. I'd be happy to say hi to anyone who wants to. I think I'm really excited for it. If you can't tell. And I think I missed a gifted sub. I'm sorry. Thank you, Heavy. It was like 40 minutes ago. Congrats. Enjoy luck, X. You're lucky. That'll about do us today on the stream. I hope you had a good time. I know I did. We'll see you next time. I feel like I've said that like 3 times already, but that's cut. Let's see if there's anyone around. Oh, here. We'll go say hi to someone. Yeah, let's go say hi to Aaron. Aaron will be actually with us at Gamescom. There's a few people that are going to be there. There'll be faces I'm sure you recognize other than mine that'll be there. That'll be cool. All right, see you later.